Good day, everybody. Oh my goodness, it's been a minute since the last time I posted a video, and there's a reason behind it. One, the last video posted, my mother was on her way to Africa for the very first time of her life, fulfilling the dream that she has had at age 72. So, yes, at age 72, dreams do come true. So, when she came back, so excited. She has her doctor appointment. She had to check in and just make sure everything was okay. Well, everything wasn't okay. She had to get an emergency surgery, which led to cancer being removed. But thankfully, all cancer has been removed, and she is cancer free, up and about, living her life, doing everything she was doing before then. And once she was removed off for strict recovery, guess what? I had to have surgery. So between the two of us, surgery, we're both up and running now. We finally able to do the video. I'm about to run it now. You're about to hear from her, hear her experience, her story about the culture and everything that took place now that we are both healthy. Her being cancer free and myself, blood pressure finally normal, not running low at 90 and all these crazy low numbers. But thankfully, like I said, we're both okay. And we finally get to share her dream coming true at age 72. Enjoy this video of her time in Ghana, Africa. All right, so the day has come. We can finally tell you about this woman right here, my mother, her trip to Ghana, Africa. It's been about 6 months now, and it's just come to the point where it's like we finally can get this video done. So my first question is, what are like some of the things that you want to share with people who are watching, who like to go to Ghana but they're not sure because they're not sure if it's safe, they're not sure if people accept them, all the different things that people come up with because of things that they heard about that's really not true.
Yeah, a lot of people think of Africa as still very primitive areas, and it really isn't. I mean, Ghana is more westernized than people know. The people are graceful, helpful, and they're genuinely glad that you're there.
Mm.
You feel very comfortable among the folks. At least I did. It's a growing country. It's becoming very industrial, and some places look just like a United States city.
Wow. So it's not all jungle.
I didn't see any jungle while I was there. I mean, they have tour parks where you can go to experience the jungle, I guess it is. But I mean, where I was in Accra and around there and the coast, it's very. I mean, you see highways being built just like they working on I-95 here. Um, Homes, complexes, business buildings. I mean, downtown Accra looks like New York
Okay.
with the
That's
high-rise buildings and so forth, the restaurants, and we went to a theater, to tour the theater. So it's a lot more westernized than people think when they think of Africa. I mean, they always show you the worst, and like the United States, they try to show you the best. So, but Africa is it's like living here,
Okay.
really. Yeah.
So like living here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So because I caught a lot of heat when it was realized that you went there by yourself, like you traveled there by yourself. And we were telling like everything is fine, it's okay. Like a lot of people think like, oh my gosh, like you said, what we're shown, like, as far as high crime rates and all that. But did you see that? Like,
No, no, just totally the opposite. I saw absolutely no crime or a reason for crime. The people were very enthusiastic and happy to help you, happy you were there, and I was no attempts of any crime. You know, I probably felt more comfortable leaving my handbag laying down there than I do here because
Okay.
it's but it was good. I had a great time.
Well, that's good. Now, some people also, I realize, because this year, 2019, a lot of people were talking about visiting the continent of Africa, especially Ghana. And because this marks the 400 year, it talks about in the book of Genesis, chapter 15, 13. And some people are even asking the question, like, okay, but the flight is so long, and like they have questions and concerns about that and layovers. Like, how was your travel? How was your in-flight travel when you went there?
Well, travel to Japan and China is longer than it is to Africa. So the travel, I would recommend the Ethiopian Airlines out of the Newark airport.
Okay.
I mean, the flight was long, but you had entertainment. The food was good. You could get up and walk around, so I don't have a problem with was it 9 hours, I think it was, on the flight over. I really didn't.
Now, nine hours on the flight over, but that wasn't straight to Ghana.
No.
You actually had to stop a layover in a country that do not speak English, only French mainly. How was that experience?
That was no problem at all. I mean, in the airport, English is spoken everywhere. Okay, but when you're flying international, there's a lot of languages spoken, but English was spoken everywhere. I had no problems communicating with the vendors and other folks at the airport. No problems at all.
Oh, that's good. So no problem with luggage, nothing like that.
No.
Oh, good. So you're now in the continent of Africa. You stop at Ivory Coast, and then the next stop is Ghana. What are some of the feelings you had? Like, what was going through your mind when you landed in Ghana, when them doors opened and your feet actually touched the land, the motherland?
I thought, wow, I am where all life began. I will learn and see my heritage. We know that life began in Africa, on this planet. We read about it in the history books, we read about it in the Bible. And it was just an awe feeling that I am now walking on where it all began. It was a wow feeling. That's the best I can say.
I know when, because our family and friends over there knew to look, let me know when y'all got her. Because going through different, you learn being over in Africa, each country, your phone may not work. So they let me know they had her, and you ain't even want to talk to me. You was like, I'm here, and like you can hear the excitement in your voice when you got there. Now, was it daytime or nighttime? I forget when you arrived.
It was nighttime when I arrived.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you really couldn't see much.
No.
Now, I got a good question for you. Some people may be concerned, like, okay, older woman traveling, how was it getting your luggage? Like, when you got there, there's so many people that I'm sure you saw, but as far as like getting your luggage, off the belt and so forth, how was that experience?
The people were really nice. I just walk up and they would just come up, see me as a lone woman. They would just come up and help. The men would just come up and say, "Where's your luggage, miss?" And I would point to it and they would go get it for me.
Wow.
So, I mean, they were, it's like Shriverly was so alive. That's all I can say. I didn't have any problems at all.
So they didn't ask you for money or nothing like that? Like trying to haggle you for money to help you with your bags?
Nope. The one guy wanted to carry it out for me so I wouldn't have to lug it, So are you okay? And, I was telling him, yeah, I'm okay, So it was fine.
Wow.
I had no problem. They were very nice. They were very gentlemen. Very nice. Yeah.
That's excellent. So as far as your stay, We will be seeing more pictures as far as like your sightseeing, going to a crowd market, or I always say surviving a crowd market. Those places that you went through, what are some of the suggestions you would give others who never been when they go out exploring and sightseeing, especially going to a crowd marketplace?
Yeah, that is. Well, that was quite an experience. That definitely felt like he was in New York. Um, the first thing is take a bottle of water with you because you got to drink plenty of water. The heat is high there, and you can get caught up in the activities and the sights that you may feel like, you feel okay, but you aren't until you become heat struck. And that can happen quickly, So, I mean, I experienced it because I thought I was okay, But when you're in moving around and shopping and so forth, but you really do have to drink a lot of water and take lots of pictures, because hopefully it won't be a once in a lifetime trip, but whether it is or it isn't, the pictures, there's memories in the pictures, so those are the two things I would suggest.
And
when you're in there shopping.
what about clothing? Like, what would you recommend for people to take?
Well, summertime clothing, because the temperatures are certainly not like they are here now.
Yes, it's wintertime on the East Coast in America right now.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, because the nights would go down to maybe the 70s, but the breeze just made it heavenly. I mean, you didn't feel, I mean, you could sit outside and the breeze was just ever so nice. And in the daytime, it could go up to maybe 90.
Okay.
But you don't have a lot of humidity there. So, but you just take loose fitting summertime clothing and very comfortable clothing.
And shoes.
And shoes,
definitely. Yeah. So while there, did you see people who look like family, friends? Did you experience that? Like, wait a minute, that looked like cousin, or that looked like my girlfriend, or that looked like...
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. In fact, they told me I was family. We all look the same. It's remarkable of the similarities in our features. So, yeah, I guess if I trace my roots, I probably would trace it back to Ghana. Because, I saw folks that, oh, he looks like this one. Oh, she looks like that. And when we sat down our little circle and talking, they was like, well, you're family. You look like us. And I was like, yeah, you look like me. Yeah.
That's so true. So when you sit down, you said you sat down and talked with the women in Ghana you spent time with, talking to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had fun. I mean, sitting around and talking about our cultural differences and learning a lot of what we do in the States is done there also. So roots grow deep, as they say. The children, I found the children to be so intelligent. The USA has some catching up in the field of education.
Okay.
The school year is longer there, and I didn't find or hear any complaints with the children about going to school. I mean, they actually look forward to going back after their little summer break, and they, like I said, they go back from August to like June, so they only have like maybe 30 days.
Oh, so it's like going all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, some schools do go all year round, because when I was there, where I stayed, was up the street from a school, and they were in session.
Wow.
So, but they're very intelligent. They speak very well. And like I said, I enjoyed my talks with the women sitting in their house and just talking, explaining to them, like, I talked with them after the funeral. We had a little talk, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're telling them, like, in the United States we wear black for everything,
Mm-hmm.
but in there they only wear black for funerals.
Right.
And they were surprised to hear that.
Mm.
They were surprised. So, and then they taught me how to eat. I can't remember the name of the dish.
Fufu.
Fufu, yeah. They taught me how to eat and how they eat their foods. So it was like just an exchange of cultural differences and talking about how we, are still alike in many ways.
And that's one thing I was glad to see you experience the traditional Ghanaian culture, traditions, and like you said, you went to a funeral. Can you share more about that? Like, because the funerals, it looked like it was a party going on I was seeing on videos.
It was a party going on. I mean, the funerals there are, as the Bible says, they should be joyful. I mean, like I said, they have a religious service and the burial.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go to the burial. I mean, mostly, I guess, the intermediate family just goes to the burial because they don't believe in cremation there. But then the black comes off and the party is on. I mean, they dance, they sing, we had good food, good fellowship. It's a real party.
Now, this was all in one day?
Oh no, this was over the weekend.
Oh, okay. So
I
it's a
thought-
whole weekend.
It was a whole weekend celebration. And that's what the Bible says we should do. We should celebrate when they leave this, cry when they come in and laugh when they go out. And that's what they do. Because I was surprised, and they have, like, the church folks, organizations, I guess, within the church, they all come dressed the same. Because that's how they recognize the different organizations, is by the way they dress. But they all come and dress, and like I say, we dance and sing and just party and have a good time.
Wow. And as far as that was in Cape Coast.
Yeah.
And when you was in Cape Coast, you did get a chance to go to one of the 3 castles that's in Ghana. A lot of people don't realize that there's 3 castles. You actually went to a castle I haven't been to yet. I had went to Elamine, but you went to Cape Coast Castle. And there's another one called Fort Christianborg. It's in Oshu Park. So maybe when we go back, we'll go together to see that. But what was your experience like going through that castle? Was it emotional? I mean, what was your experience feeling wise, emotionally?
It was very, very emotional. And a lot of different emotions would come up. You get angry at some point. You very sympathetic at some point. I mean, it was very, very emotional, straining tour for me to see how our ancestors were treated. But then again, I think that seeing the strength of our people, because our forefathers and mothers were stronger. They were stronger than we stand on their shoulders. They have to be stronger, folks. And just seeing what was done to them, they weren't looked at as humans. They were looked at as wild animals. And I mean, some of these slave traders had some compassion on the women who were pregnant, but it was just very emotional. It was. I tell you, I cried through some of the stuff that as you learn the cold hard truth of what was done to them. But that's a must see and a do tour spot in Ghana. So go through and actually see what our ancestors went through and to hear them tell the story
Right, right.
is so different than what we have in history books. What little we do have in history books, it is so different, and they know the story. And our tour guide, he even dramatized some of the story, and to see the equipment and the cannons and stuff, it makes you become more appreciative of what you have today. Because if they haven't survived, we wouldn't survive. I think that's where we get our strength from. It's in our genes. It's in our genes.
And especially the gate of no return, where you're looking out to the Atlantic, and that was the last stop before crossing the Atlantic, was the gate of no return. What was that like?
Yeah, well, we could imagine them seeing that, going out, knowing that they were going to go out to this ocean, someplace that they never heard of, and would never come back to their homeland. That's a pretty scary feeling.
Yeah.
And then to travel the way they traveled, those who made it were strong. And not just physically strong. I'm talking emotionally and psychologically. We came from very intellectual, creative kings and queens.
Yeah.
Very. And we shouldn't put ourselves down. We don't have to walk around as we're pompous, but we shouldn't put ourselves down.
I agree. And, just hearing you say that, that's why, I like doing these videos, because people really need to experience it for themselves. I told you about Africa, but at the same time, I say what I was told, you have to experience for yourself. If somebody asks you about the trip, and you can tell when you're talking with somebody, like, okay, they just hasn't gotten it, right? So for you now, sharing your experience with other people, how do you feel telling them? Like, is it like you just have to experience for yourself to understand?
You really do. You really do. I can sit here and talk for hours and hours, and I don't know that you would feel the same as I feel being there, touching and feeling and seeing, and being a part of the culture and the way of life and so forth. It's something you have to experience. Anyone who I speak to who has made the journey to Ghana comes back, and they always come back with something different. But it's a trip that you have to make. You have to, because the experience is going to be different for everyone. Each person's going to come back with something a little different, and then you're going to come back with something the same. But it's something you have to experience yourself.
Talking about experience, you got a chance to taste different foods. So I had shared my experience with the food and in comparison and so forth, but how did your body digest with the foods, and did you have any reactions? Be honest.
It's hard to describe the taste of the food other than it's different for me. I mean, some was spicy, but it was all good. I had to get used to eating like fish. Like we get fish from the market now. It's all filleted, heads cut off. But when you go to the restaurant and you order fish, you get the whole thing. And the way they cook it, the spices, of course, that they use makes it taste different. But I tell you, I never had constipation.
Okay, that's a nice way to put it.
Okay, my digestive system cleansed itself daily. Because before I left, the bank teller at my bank, she's from Africa, and she told me that you will eat pure organic food, because even the organic food here is not pure organic food. they still spray stuff or pump something in, but there's no pumping in because I noticed that the chickens were small.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we want to have chicken leg that's as big as my arm. There the chicken legs are small and it tastes different.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I didn't have a problem with the digestives of the food or anything. Mm-hmm. In fact, I probably was better off.
So
my body was functioning the way it should function.
Yes, that is so true. So at one time, you said you experienced some heartburn, which I did when I was there too. So, and we explained that it was from the spices. Your body is not used to all the spices. I wasn't used to eating that. Mm-hmm.
The next day after I ate the fufu,
mm-hmm.
I had a little heartburn. So I just really drowned myself in water.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I could think of. But after that, it was no problem.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but I just wasn't used to, like I said, some of the food was spicy, and I don't eat a lot of spicy food
mm-hmm.
all the time.
Right.
And they're used to it, whereas
mm-hmm.
I'm not. So that's about it. Yeah.
Mm. So you said when someone goes, they'll take from and bring back their own experiences. What did you take from your experience and the culture that you had? That you experienced, looked at, and how was your time there? Has made you think differently or act differently or just affect the way you see things now today and going forward from your life?
Well, I saw the rich and I saw poverty. Mm-hmm. I saw pride and I saw determination. People there don't sit and beg. They get up and become street vendors, house workers, taxi drivers. They do something to earn a living. I did not experience people standing in the streets begging. They don't behave like they're from a lost, poor nation. They know that God is right there taking care of them. Their faith and values are very strong. So because when you ride, how many buses do you see go down the street with a Bible verse on it? Mm-hmm. They have Bible verses on billboards. Mm-hmm. You see all the time advertising the different religious services. So it's a country that is very faith oriented. Mm-hmm. Very Christian country. They have other faiths there. Mm-hmm. I saw the beautiful Muslim. Yeah. But the Christianity is their main faith. Mm-hmm. And I know that my faith and trust in God mm-hmm. has grown from being among people who have such strong mm-hmm. faith and trust in their values. Mm. Yeah.
So after going there, would you ever consider living there? And if so, why?
Well, I look forward to going back and exploring properties on the coast.
Oh, Cape Coast. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think life there would be my dream of living like a retired queen.
Okay. Retired queen meaning?
Meaning I don't have to go through any struggles or hassles or anything. Not, try to pay taxes and all this other stuff, If life would be, retired, mm-hmm. I wouldn't have any concerns or worries, mm-hmm.
So the American dollar, retirement dollar, taking over there is like no worries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what adjustments do you think that you would have to make?
Well, of course I would have to adjust to, food, mm-hmm. their certain cultures, things that they do. I probably have to, make adjustments, but, I'll make them. Mm-hmm. Whatever adjustments that have to be made, I have to make. It's the same as moving anywhere, someplace new. you have to make adjustments. But I think the adjustments would be easy. They wouldn't be difficult. And especially in a warm climate all the time.
Now, one adjustment that you didn't bring up is Ghana time. Watch.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share, like, hello, this is Ghana, baby. Like, this is how we live here.
Well, they tell us you're operating on CP time. It's originated there. I've been sitting waiting, I'll pick you up at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I might see you at 8 o'clock. And, with me being a very punctual person, I got a little anxious at times. So, but I learned that's an adjustment, that not that I'm always going to be late because you may show up at 5 o'clock. But it's an adjustment that you have to make, that they don't rush. They don't rush around, busy, trying to get everything. But everything gets done. Everything gets done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Family, now you get to see the pictures and video, and I think she did an awesome job. I was like, my mom took these pictures.
Looking bad.
Oh, and excuse me, when she got there, she was like, I have to get my own Ghana phone. So she has her own Ghana telephone.
I sure do. I didn't know that I was to have checked with my carrier to get overseas service.
Right.
So now I know when I go back to call them at least 3 days prior to departing to make sure I have overseas service. So because of that, I got another phone. So I have a Ghana phone. I have a Ghana phone number.
Yes.
So when I go back, I'll get the overseas service on my main phone, and I also have that phone.
Right.
So that's fine. I'm fine with that.
So family, that's another tip. Make sure you check with your provider before you go to make sure you get service over there international. So I hope you enjoyed this segment, this interview. Please, definitely, family, if you're thinking about it, just do it. Just do it. Make a way. God will make a way for you to go, because this was not a trip plan. It was like last minute, and it said,
sure
okay.
Was. Yeah.
Mom just said, I'm going. So, and she did it, and she's back. And I just look forward to you enjoying the rest of this video. Take care.